Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the after party, and I shall just shift you to there, and I will bring in. And we have Neil. Oh, now he's in the mountains.
Mount St. Helens, man.
And boom, there we go. We have the host back now. That was perfect timing because we literally just swapped over. I says we'll go live and we'll just wait for him coming back, and then as soon as I hit the button, man, you come back. That was perfect. Did you get Susan her bagel?
Yeah, Susan got her bagel with her original flavor, Tillamook cream cheese. So.
I'm not a big fan of bagels. I don't say, but over here all you can buy is New York bagels in the packet of 6, and they're very rubbery and nah.
They are extremely.
Aren't they awful? So we'll work around the room. You met Manda earlier. What would be to your right on screen is RIB, another fellow Irishman. Religion is bullshit is his moniker, but we call him Rib. And then I don't know if you've met Jeff before, Godless Scummer.
I believe we've spoken.
We were on Neil's the other day.
Yeah, and we've definitely spoken in chats and stuff. But yeah, Neil's channel last week after I think Susan's.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, welcome back, everybody. Nathaniel, as we say, all his links are in the description for Divine Disbelief, his Twitter, his channels, and all that. And just a quick roundup for any with a few spit the bricks out, we'll all build a house. I apologize. We have a few new people in, so if you want to just give a shout and tell them what you do and what your background is, there, Nathaniel, please.
Sure. So, Divine Disbelief is the channel that my partner Susan and I have on YouTube. We go, we review secular news, provide opinion for it, and as well as we also do deep dives into topics that range from religiosity over to historical things, or even a retelling of certain things that have happened in the state of Texas over the course of the past 5 years, which is hilarious. And we are on, we do that every Wednesday evening, which it's Wednesday evening in Oregon, which I think is like AM everywhere else in the world. My background is actually in old world prehistory, the paleoanthropologic evolution of humans and hominids in general. But I have recently shifted that over and am now really pursuing, hopefully, PhD in New Testament studies. And that's really where I kind of focus now. Susan is, I think she'll be joining us here after a bit, because I think she's almost done with her work. About 45 minutes, she says. She focuses on reproductive justice and bodily autonomy, women's rights, as well as church-state separation. So when she worked for Planned Parenthood, so she's got really great history there. So she and I run a channel that has a lot of a varying amount of content available, and it certainly is not focused on one particular thing. So,
well, I'm going to be real selfish and just I would love to pick your brain on the whole hominid thing, man. I remember it was about before I opened up my Discord, I made a joke one morning about Cro-Magnon man or whatever it was, or one of the hominids. I can't remember what it was, and it started. Every morning when I got to work, the first thing I did was look up a different hominid species with a wee picture and a wee thing about it, and then we popped that in the Discord every morning. People had to guess what it was, and the actual evolution of where we came from is fucking fascinating to me.
It is, yeah. Drop my glasses. Yeah, there are some, at this point now, we're looking at things with like Homo erectus, and there's some contention in the scientific community, at least on our field, whether or not this is actually a Homo. But we know it's not an Australopith, and so it's something else. It's the same thing we've kind of done with like Homo naledi, but most of the things that we gave Homo erectus to is 50, 70, 80 years ago, and had to do with what a skull cap or something would have looked like, the shape of it and stuff. It was large enough or things like that. Turns out that we have more biological and phylogenetic features than that, and so there's actually a bit of a conversation there, and that's actually really interesting. But yes, the history of our current species is I actually think like cetaceans are more impressive because they actually went back to the water.
Yeah.
But it's kind of getting these ideas of the ability to have cognitive thought processes away from instinctual processes, which we still have an issue with, as well as our ability to have imaginative thoughts. That was not the case with some of our earlier ancestors. We can kind of see that. So, as
you mentioned, the cetacean, whales would be one of my favorite evolutions. Also, the horse line. I find it very, if I'm right on this, if I remember it correctly, that it was evolved in North America, then it left and died out, and then was brought back again. Wasn't that right?
Yes, that's correct.
Yeah.
Three-toed horses in the Pleistocene epoch, about 20 million, 13 million years ago. And they were in North America. They were here with the bear dogs and some of your larger cats. And people always think the saber-toothed cat. That's Susan in the background. Not necessarily that one. That one didn't actually do so well. But some of the different types of Hyracotherium and stuff like that. Yeah. And these enormous creatures. And so horses, they thrived in the grasslands, really of what is now like the Midwest. And then there's a varying, now mind you, this isn't my particular field of study. I just happen to have a bit of understanding of it.
More so than us, so we will appreciate it.
There are varying theories about what happened regarding the extinction of some of those horses. Some of them obviously hunting, from us, which is the big thing we did with mammoths and stuff like that. But there's also a change from, little ice ages here and there. And so, but yeah, we brought them back into North America from Europe. And now they are thriving once again in an environment that's not wholly unlike theirs was that long ago. Temperate climates are great for them. So I imagine they're happy that there are no more bear dogs chasing them.
Yeah, PBS Eons did a fantastic video on the bear dogs. That was very well got. Yeah. Another one I seen on that, just mentioned PBS Eons, was a crocodile that appeared just after the dinosaurs got wiped out that could run, I think, up to 15 or 20 kilometers an hour. Big, massive, and it literally was a fast running crocodile. It was no. Definitely would not have liked to encounter that sort of shit.
Oh yeah. What the biggest thing that I actually wrote about and have researched in science has to do with the relationship between Homo sapiens and then the Canis familiaris, and the transition from Canis lupus as well. And for me, it's talking about the prognathic relationship. And basically that means that we change their snout. So we don't have prognatism. None of the great apes do, right? We don't have a snout at all. And our ability but it's our understanding of how to adjust how these animals, as we lived with them and cohabitated with them, how we were able to adjust their appearance over time is, especially when it came to their teeth, and how they're still able to retain some of that is actually really, really fascinating to me. And so I've done most of my research in that area right there. And it's really, really great. And then I go back and, of course, Eons did that a little while ago. Where did the relationship actually start?
Twice. That's what I was going to mention. Yeah, they have evidence to see. I was going to say that dog is man's best friend. And it's even evidence in the evolutionary line, because we wanted it that bad. We did it twice.
Yeah, we actually did. We don't know where it started, though.
No.
That's the biggest thing. Was it North America? A lot of people say Eurasia.
Yeah.
And I can see why at that point. And then why not Neanderthal, right? There's so many questions regarding that. And
possibly because Neanderthal was more physically strong and could do that. It was a better build and things like that. And as being a Homo sapien, we could rely more on them. Also, we were slightly are we smarter or not? There's evidence to show they were just as smart, isn't it?
It's difficult. We can't tell by cranial capacity,
no, not
which
anymore.
is a common myth. they had societies not much different than ours. Certainly, obviously, could interbreed with us still with some success. Whether we or they were more intelligent, I don't know that we can definitively say that. What we can say is that we were, they would have been more like our second cousin in the when it comes to the other apes, because we're like the common chimpanzee. We are very violent.
Yeah.
We are very possessive. We trick each other so that even though it would help both of us or all of us if we work together, we trick each other so that we can take things from one another. That's like a common chimpanzee type of thing. And then we have the other side of that, which is like the matriarchal side of well, now I can't remember the name of it, but it's not bonobos. I will remember in a moment.
Penises, but get the bonobo fencing out.
I will remember in a second, because it could be bonobos, but I'll remember in a second. But I don't. Wow,
I'm pretty sure. So I thought.
Is it bonobos? Maybe.
I was going to say I thought bonobos were more matriarchal. I mean, I could be wrong about that, but.
That's no. I think actually yes, you're right. Sorry, my brain for whatever reason was not coming up with that, and I could tell as I was formulating the sentence too. I was like, wait a second. But bonobos are more matriarchal, and they protect one another, and they are less violent, and they have better social order, and they live longer as well for that. And so it's more like we are more like the common chimpanzees, and one could say that Neanderthal were not quite as violent, but one could also say they didn't work together as well as we did.
Well, you see, that said, we're more of a social species where they did split themselves off, and is it what do you call it, where all the great ones go to die, the Gibraltar, isn't it, where they've shown a couple of different species have all went to Gibraltar to die.
Yeah, that area, Morocco. The places that you find right there around the Mediterranean, of course, it's also difficult for us to know if they died there or if they were transported there in one way or another.
Yeah, I've seen a documentary on they found a cave very close to the edge of the ocean, or very close to the edge of the sea, where it supposedly is the last or the most recent remains that they've found of the Neanderthal lineage.
Yeah, which is phenomenal, because we for the longest time didn't know that they went this far east. Yeah, and we also though look at when did we start figuring out how to bury things, and why would we at that point, and so we can go back all the way with that to Naledi obviously did something like that, and this is in South Africa, not Ethiopia, and we're still talking 2 million years ago. So.
Wait, hold on a quick hi to Junk Shop. Thanks for coming.
Yes, thank you very much for joining Junk Shop. Sorry, I'm just loving this conversation. Sorry.
It's all right. Thank you for having me.
Sorry, go ahead.
Whenever you were, what do you think? Well, how far back do you think the actual Homo came into it?
Well, it depends on how one wants to classify Erectus, right?
Yeah, that's yeah.
If that's the case, then it's 1.8, 2 million years or so.
And our actual Homo sapiens, something like 150, 200,000, isn't it?
It's some say there is a minority view of around 125, 150. Usually 225, 250. It just really it's not the consensus, if you will, is around that 225, 250. But there's some things that go back further than that even, and so. As we discover more, now mind you, it's never any closer than that, which is funny. It's never 30,000 or 60,000 years, like somebody tried to tell me last night. That was really funny. But there are things that like the Moroccan skull cap that we have, that's we're talking maybe 300,000 or even more, and that's a possibility. It's right now it's somewhere in that 225, 250 range that I think most would say.
Well, correct me if I'm wrong this now, but the Homo erectus is the more African one. There is one that they think there's an emergence from Africa of Homo erectus that then created the European one, which I can't remember the fucking name of. But then if Erectus gets reclassified, would that also reclassify the one in Europe then as well?
Yeah, I like the fact that it has two names, and there's a reason for that, and it should never have been that way. And it's likely that's the case, but those two should be different anyways, in my opinion. They have certain phylogenetic and diagnostic features that simply don't match properly. That whenever we first named these, that we wouldn't have known about. And so we're like, oh, it's like the same thing. Look, they have the same type of, whether they not have a valgus knee, whether their sternum is pointing a certain direction, where their spinal column enters the as far as we can tell, the underside or the back of their cranium. And that's those are things that are a big deal. Which direction does their rib cage face, right? So we can actually see if we have upright stuff, or and for the longest time we would consider that these were roughly the same species. But in my opinion, which I take this if you want to, I think that they should be two different ones to begin with, which then would not affect anything that would have been like Eurasia. Because that's obviously more recent anyways. And so there are certain people who say that they went a different direction, and so it's actually not that recent, but I don't find that compelling.
Like, we're both the same age, as I say. I'll be 37 in August, 1st of August, and Susan says yours is in a month or so as well. So we're roughly around the same age, and even in our lifetime, this field has completely changed. I remember when we were growing up, and even quite recently, there was the pygmy species that was found, and then there was the Denisovans or Denisavans, or some people say it differently.
Denisovans. No.
Denisovans.
I have an issue with that one too. Yeah. Denisovans. Wow.
Yeah, and it seems that I've seen a study that there's some percentage of Denisovan DNA that does arrive in people from China and sort of the Asian area, and that where we would over here in more Europe would get Neanderthal. So it's not to say that they are a descendant, but that is their cousin that they had from that region.
Yeah, a lot of this the genetic marker that allows for the tint to the skin when especially when like alcohol is imbibed and stuff like that. That's not from Homo sapien lineage. That's from interbreeding. The same thing applies to certain brow ridges and stuff like that. That folks who have the European ancestry, that's what a lot of what we have, and that comes from Neanderthal. And so, absolutely, yeah, there's interbreeding among these interconnected species on this enormous continent, which looks quite a bit different today than it did then. And absolutely, and then there's this. I'm not a big fan of like the land bridge idea.
Well, in particular, which one are you talking about? The one across over into America, or?
Yeah. It doesn't. There are a lot of things that it doesn't explain regarding the differences in the peoples that are in North and South America, if they were from the same like lineages and stuff like that. You're talking completely different looks of ancestry, completely different looks of jawline, skull capacity, not capacity, but skull difference when it comes to optical regions. And we have, I think that it's possible that we could see things like people actually crossing, large bodies of water much earlier than what we thought. I mean, Polynesians and things like this already lived in the Pacific Ocean anyways. I think there's a great possibility that we have different lineages in like South America and even into like what is now Central America than just land bridge people moving. They didn't move that quickly to begin with, and you're talking about so yeah.
There was one I read now talking about Indonesia and stuff in the islands with the boats and all. I may be wrong in the actual location, but there's not a tribe, but there's an area of people that are immune to malaria because of the lineage from what was before. It's not, it's not Homo sapien. They moved in and there was somebody there that was immune. A cousin obviously was immune to malaria. There was interbreeding, and this group of Homo sapiens in this area now is actually immune to malaria. They go out, get stung. Doesn't bother them at all. But it's not from the Homo sapien. It's from the DNA of the lineage that came before. It's a sickle cell thing, right? And this is also the reason, obviously, that we have the lack of melanin in our skin, right? It means we have we lack that same sickle cell. So we are
we are able to absorb vitamin D much more easily. At the same time, we are also more prone to malaria, as well as to skin diseases and stuff like that. Whereas the negative side, I guess, if you will, is sickle cell anemia and things like that amongst those who really are more African in that genetic history. And that's a fun thing to look at as well. We could really see that after the mapping of the genome in the early 2000s. I think Denisovian is the name that I'm looking for.
Yeah, it's a weird pronunciation of
yeah.
it. Yeah. As you mentioned with the Genome Project in Africa, that's one of the evidences that we have that we definitely all came from Africa, is the wide variety that you have in Africa. The genes and things like that we have in Europe and America. Not that we aren't all different, but we're fucking very close, where you can see a lot of differences in the genealogy when you go to Africa.
Yes, absolutely. I think that's actually rather phenomenal as well, especially what happened with Toba 70,000 years ago, which almost wiped out our entire species. And our ability to get to overcome that, which resulted in a fair amount of prehistoric social distancing.
Pretty much wiping everyone out,
yeah. But they didn't want to. All right, this is the same thing that happened to like the cheetahs and stuff.
Yeah,
where cataclysm caused cheetahs to be completely cut off from the other members of their species, as well as potential food sources and things like that. This is why cheetahs are going extinct. Beyond the fact that we're killing them, but they're going extinct because they don't have genetic divergence and things like that in between their species. Every single cheetah is related in such a way that skin grafts work 100% of the time.
Really?
Yes, but they also don't have the evolutionary benefit of their immune system does not evolve, and because it's always incestuous. Because of how small their species, it shrunk to such a small level that they were, mating brother and sister, basically mother and son, father and daughter, and they don't have an immune system that can fight off disease or anything like that. And so there's an incredibly high amount of mortality rate amongst their cubs, and if they become sick, no matter their age, they are likely to die. That is what our species was in danger of 70,000 years ago. And the only thing that saved us was our ability to get up on the two legs and the understanding that we could move around and go and find these things and knowing where they were, and then kind of branching out from there. So there's we were almost not there. Do
you think the reason that we have taken over, basically the whole planet, you look at any other dogs and animals and species, they have cousins that exist now where we don't, and
yeah.
Certainly you go to certain areas like the Neanderthals were obviously bigger and stronger, were designed to survive a colder temperature and things like that, and maybe we interbred and stole a few genes to help out with what we needed to, but we do have the ability to adapt as the Homo sapien species more so than any other.
It has to do with our prefrontal cortex, sure. It's also part of our downfall. There is no evolutionary 100% positive mutation. Obviously, we have not moved on from the trees that much. We're still as I mentioned, as we're talking about at the very beginning of this, we're still very, very, very violent.
Yeah.
Certainly much more unnecessarily violent than some of our cousins. It is interesting to see that there are no other species. Because as you mentioned, you look at elephants, you look at rhino, these things that have been around longer than we have.
Yeah.
And there still are other species. And it is an interesting thing. It has partially to do with the fact that we are, we're murderous.
I was just about to say
primates.
that, we're smart people that can murder and like to. So whenever you move in and find a tribe that doesn't really agree with you, if you like to kill and you're smarter than the other person, you'll probably win.
Yep. And especially if your population is higher. And that was something that I think we can show that we had as an advantage over Neanderthal is that we had a higher population, and and that makes it easier to overrun things. And it wasn't like an overnight type thing either.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Well, it depends. Is the Earth 6,000 years old or 4.5?
Yeah, it's over the course. It's been after the flood. You're looking at probably 300 years. I think they were the Nephilims. Okay, those were the giants of old. They were that's who we're talking about. They're the ones that looked down and saw the daughters of man, and they were like, "Let's do this." That's exactly what that is. The flood wiped them out.
Well, since I've been monopolizing the conversation for a while here, I've got it out of my system now. So I will open it up if anyone else has any questions they want to poke Nathaniel about or ask Nathaniel.
It doesn't have to be about that.
I was actually just going to say, because just what you were saying about populations and that, because what you were saying about like cheetahs a few minutes ago, like, so I read somewhere that they had about 12,000 years ago, there was a cheetahs, for whatever reason, did actually suffer a massive population decline then, which maybe has led to a lot of a lack of genetic diversity, which is why they're sort of endangered now. I mean, I don't know if you agree with that or not, but
no, I absolutely do. Yeah, and that's the population bottleneck is, and we see that we cause that now in other species as well. All we have to do is look at Australia for that, and their population, they were cut off likely geographically, the population bottlenecking, and then at that point, then we have a lack of ability to properly mate to spread genetic diversity over a certain area. So yeah, it's not good for those big cats. And there's it's phenomenal though, looking at them different, like how they how much different they are than the other big cats. A lot of that stuff's quite a bit differently, so it's funny.
I think it's quite sad that I think I've read somewhere there's more tigers alive in captivity now than are in the wild.
Correct. I think it's certain for certain species. It's certainly correct, and I wouldn't be surprised if that were the case. I agree that it certainly is.
Yeah, I mean, don't quote me on that. It's just something I read that I don't know. I can't swear to the accuracy of it though. So,
what's of your opinion of bringing things back? Like the mammoth and things like that. Cross a wee bit of DNA here, a wee bit of DNA there, and Jurassic Park it inside an elephant. What's your opinions on that?
I think that the dinosaurs had their shot and nature wiped them out.
Well, not necessarily Jurassic Park, but you know what I mean? Bringing back the woolly mammoth.
And now, you got this technology and you packaged it and you patented it and you sold it to the highest bidder. And I haven't seen Jurassic Park in like a year and a half, and Ian Malcolm is my favorite character.
Actually, if you guys were going to pick a species that is long extinct that you could bring back Jurassic Park style, what would it be? Start with you, MathPig.
Me? Oh, I don't know. I really like that crocodile thing with the long legs, but I wouldn't like to encounter it. But it looked fucking class. Ginger rhinos are also good.
Oh no!
I think that would be a recipe for disaster, bringing something like that.
I think it would be a disaster, but come on, it's
ginger rhinos.
Yeah.
Bring back the ginger rhinos. I think it would help the gingers in general. People wouldn't make so much fun of us because rhinos being ginger would make it fashionable and cool again.
I'd just say, England's in being a lot of trouble because, racism against gingers is like last socially acceptable form of racism here. So,
I love my ginger, so
we're not that bad.
Junk shop. What are you bringing back? It's extinct.
Well, it has to be something in the mammoth family, right? As a food source.
Mm-hmm.
I can see that. I would likely Dimetrodon for sure. Something in that family. There's a lot.
Just going straight for the cool factor.
Well, no, I'm going. If we are correct we will find an incredible amount of genetic similarity between us and Dimetrodon, especially with diapsid, synapsid type of stuff. And also so I can say, see, it's not a dinosaur. It can't be a dinosaur. So that's my. I had people call Dimetrodon a dinosaur more often. They do pterosaurs, and I'm like, stop it. So
it's a very wide term, dinosaur. People say dinosaur, that means to them anything that came from the big past, and it's a big giant lizard running about, but
yeah, basically
it's like bird. It's an umbrella term, or not bird, fish. Sorry, it's like fish. It's a very umbrella term. There's no actual classification of fish.
Yeah, and our classification of dinosaur is simply land dwelling reptile, by the way, which is not a proper thing, of the Mesozoic era, specifically Triassic, Jurassic, and Cretaceous. And so that knocks out anything lived in the water. I don't know how it doesn't. I don't know what it does with Spinosaurus. I have no idea, because you half and half type stuff. We don't even know if Spinosaurus even live in the water. That's not. I don't know. Or the plesiosaurs, mosasaurs, ichthyosaurs. Those things, like those aren't considered dinosaurs, even though they were around for the Mesozoic, and then much like the non-avian dinosaurs, they went extinct at the end of the Mesozoic. So how would this not qualify? It's need to change the definition of dinosaur.
But dinosaurs.
But Dimetrodon still doesn't work because it wasn't around then. So
T-Rex is probably the most popular one, the most researched as well.
Yes,
I think I've seen a Royal Institute study, and they had a replica of a T-Rex foot actually up, full size on it. Oh no, it was a T-Rex head they had. Sorry, a T-Rex head. And a velociraptor that you get from Jurassic Park was that small it could fit inside his nostril. Or was it inside socket? It's very T-Rex, small.
Yeah, we have an incredible number of very, very, very articulated specimens of the Tyrannosaurus Rex. But now we have others that we actually now are looking at juvenile Tyrannosaurs from the Cretaceous, and not even in North America. And so that has been a bit of contention over the course of the past 30 or 40 years. How because we don't find these especially these large theropods in places like South America, although we do find something like large sauropods, Cretaceous sauropods. But now we're finding tyrannosaurs in places in Asia that we don't expect to find them. So there's it's nice that the Tyrannosaurus Rex has been so kind to leave us such a nice record. Yeah. Unlike you, Stegosaurus. Really.
The two that not shocked me, but the two that I found was most interesting, as you said, growing up watching Jurassic Park. You're watching that and you take it, and unless you actually look at it, T-Rex can't see unless you move. Well, if you look at their eyeball relative to their eye socket, they probably had the best eyesight that a land animal ever had. And, the ability that they have to run with the development of their bone, the fact that they'd put that shock absorber up the middle, they really, you were fucked. You pretty much were fucked. They could see for very far, and they could run very, very quick.
Yeah. We also, I think, with where their nasal cavity is and where it connects in like the back of their skull, it's likely they also were able to smell, like bloodhounds and stuff like that. And this is the pinnacle of theropod predators in the Mesozoic. And I just that thing is, and it's like, if you're a Triceratops, well, or like an Aguiceratops, like Susan has on her, it's like, man, these ornithischians don't stand a chance against this stuff. And yet, what we find is that these armored dinosaurs, or these dinosaurs with this protection, even hadrosaurs, had their fair share of success against the raptors who were amazingly agile, and also against the tyrannosaurs. And so there was the amount of evolution that happened, especially between the Jurassic and the Cretaceous, with the dinosaurs was. I wish we could see that again, because it's a beautiful amount of stuff.
So it's getting back to what actually you mentioned it a minute ago, because it's getting back to what Amanda was saying. I suppose my pick was something just out of curiosity, because I've had a bit, because I've always sort of liked this one. And could I probably bring back Triceratops, to be honest?
Nice.
Don't know why. I've always had a fascination with that one, but.
Oh yeah.
Well, dinosaurs were a big thing. Jurassic Park came out and dinosaurs were just pushed like mad. It's like the space in the 60s. You're going to the moon. You're now not playing with cowboy toys anymore, like Toy Story says. You've now moved on to spaceships.
I mean, I was supposed to, in a way, I mean, that movie, obviously there's issues with it, but I think it was good in that fact that it got a lot of kids sort of interested in like dinosaurs and that. So, which they're such a cool thing anyway. I mean, I was sort of had a bit of a fascination with that even before that movie came out. But I was thinking in one respect it was kind of good for that.
Yeah, absolutely.
What did you think on the thoughts of feathers whenever they started to come out, and then the new movies didn't pick up on them? And
we knew about feathers in the early 90s.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's. I mean, come on, they got Velociraptor, which is certainly not that. And I know they're not going to get all the dinosaurs right, and Dilophosaurus certainly not. But I don't know why they are not putting even proto feathers on dinosaurs. Even now, you could just say, look, it was something we did in the lab. And I'm like, all right, there you go. Just do it that way. I don't care how you insert it, because it's quite obvious. We have preserved fossilized types of like what looks like mottled skin and everything. So we know that they're there. We even have feathers that are fossilized. So come on. And they would use, obviously the reasons for that is warmth. The Cretaceous was very cold, not like
that's what I've seen is they used it for warmth first. It was more dow feathers and things like that at the start, and more fluffy to keep them warm, and then evolved into that.
Yep, and also to protecting their eggs and stuff like that. But we have hadrosaurs and raptors living that we have discovered in the Prince Creek Formation up in what is now Alaska. Right, there was snow there, and there was snow on both poles at this point near the end of the Cretaceous, and so. Dinosaurs at this point are living in climates that did change over time. There's no way that these Jurassic or Cretaceous, or maybe even like or Triassic, or maybe an early Cretaceous could have survived something like that. Yeah. This would have taken. Nope. I think we just skipped over. This would have taken millions of years of which we don't have, by the way, yet. We don't have a fossil record almost at all of the end of the Jurassic or early Cretaceous. Mm-hmm. And I hope we find it. Africa is a good place to go look for it, and it's for us. We have a lot of guesses that seem to be correct, but we don't have information from the end of the Jurassic to the Cretaceous. So it's a lot of fun trying to piece that together as well. And that's there were days when I'd be working on stuff looking at like a shin bone or something. I'd be like, I really should have been a paleontologist. Like I should have followed that route.
Have you got one? Sorry, go on ahead, Amanda.
Especially our age that grew up in the 80s, 90s didn't have this, notion of being a paleontologist at some point in their childhood, really.
It's true. Yeah. whenever we would go and give like because kids like to we like do like trivia and stuff for kids, like at like there's the Perot museums in Dallas, right? And I didn't have like one opportunity to ever go do anything there, but even at the University of Nebraska Natural History Museum, like kids come in there and stuff, and the parents will come in with the kids, parents that are my age, by the way, and they'll be like, "Oh, this is so nice that you get the kids get it, the kids are entertained," and I'm like, adults like dinosaurs too, okay? Like, geez, it's not just a kid thing. Oh man, this is unintended insult. So it's always funny.
What about you when you were little or younger? Was there any big plans to be paleontologist or archaeologist or any of those like big mythical jobs? Junk shop, you there? Did we lose you?
I hear you.
Hello?
No, I'm here. I'm sorry. I glitched out for a second, so I didn't realize the question was directed at me.
Yeah.
No, I wanted to be in special effects. I wanted to build the monsters.
Awesome.
Oh, so you realize they weren't real? Yeah. Okay.
Well, I knew they'd been real at one time, but there weren't any lurking in my closet.
No.
No, that's
Yeah. That's
Well, I've survived this long. Always close my closet. No.
Right? And check under your bed.
That's how they get you. You never check under the bed. That's when they grab you and drag you behind.
Yeah, you gotta check under the bed. I mean, it's the law though. Like, if you check under the bed, it's gone. But if you don't, it's gonna get you. Absolutely.
Yeah, it's actually the spider from Arachnophobia, letting you know that. Yeah, that's why I'm arachnophobe now.
Oh my God, I want to say my 10th birthday party. Yeah, my 10th birthday party. I remember going to Blockbuster with my dad, and I was like, "Yeah, we're getting arachnophobia for my party." And oh my God, it was scared the shit out of me. I think it still gives me nightmares to this day.
Yeah. And it is a hilarious movie. Like
10-year-old girl, yo.
But not when you're 10. Yeah.
No. Yeah, we used to, it was on, I think it was actually on TV the first time that I saw it as a child. And my stepfather, the reason we were in Nebraska, he would because he apparently had seen the movie before and enjoyed scarring people for life. He would jump up behind the chair whenever it's like a jump scare, right? And when the if you've never seen Arachnophobia, by the way, it is a cognizant thinking, ability to plan things, can mate between different species of spider, and kills you in 4 seconds. There you go. And Jeff Daniels is in the film.
Does it come from Australia?
It's from Venezuela, and which of course it is. It's a socialist spider,
yeah.
and it'll jump.
That's us commies are taking over.
Yeah, and it jumps at the screen too. And every single time, my stepdad would be like, "Ah!" and I'll be like, "What, man?" So now I'm terrified of spiders, and there's one that's in a little web thing above Susan's head, and it keeps kind of moving around this little area. Basically, it's on Mount St. Helens right there, and it's just over there, and I'm sitting here going, "Well, I'm not killing it, so, and I'm not going to put it outside. I wouldn't kill it anyway. I'm not going to. No, it's every spider, by the way, on the planet is a Sydney funnel web in some form or fashion, and is out to kill me." So,
Speaking of South American
things we
spiders,
learn.
that scares me more than anything are those ones that rain from the sky. Have you ever seen the pictures of those? Holy fuck! Oh my God! I would just be like,
I've got to say the biggest spider I've ever sort of seen wild was in South America.
why did I do this? Oh yeah, the bird right? The bird one.
I think so. It just has really long legs. It's in Peru. That's where I saw it. It's just sort of walking in front of us. I mean, it's one of the women who was on our tour was like right in front of me, and she just stopped whilst this thing was because she was like arachnophobic. It was like, ooh, you know.
Yeah.
Before, but
Probably she wasn't the same for a day afterwards because it was like, you know, just knowing that there's more of these things about. It's like, you know.
Yep.
When I first moved here, I was sitting up in bed one night reading, and all of a sudden, just out from under the bed, this big. The spider was this fucking big. Oh my god! I just casually crawled out from under my bed. So all I could think was like, how long has it been there? Like, what if it come out later and like crawled on my face while I was sleeping? Oh my god! I couldn't sleep for a week after that.
See, my wee girl has picked up the same sort of thing from her mother. She's picked up, in my opinion, an irrational fear of spiders. And like 2 or 3 weeks ago, we were outside in the garden, sunny day, and I'd found a wee spider, and it must have took me fucking 45 minutes to get the confidence in her to put her hands out, and she was so close, and just as the spider went to go under her finger, she just panicked and fucking bolted, and ran away. And then I chased after. I went after. And I says, we'll put the spider in the tree. And we put the spider back in the tree. And then when we went inside, she started to cry. And I was like, what's wrong? And she was like, I miss my best friend, Spider. And I,
I was deeply disappointed when I found out that if you got bit by a spider, you don't develop superhuman powers like Spider-Man. You know.
Yeah.
That's only radioactive spiders.
You know.
Just so you know, Amanda, there are other venomous spiders in Australia that basically they put a little string of the web and they float on the air, on the breeze, and they go to New Zealand. So if they can make it to New Zealand, they can make it to America, and they're already here.
Oh god!
Oh,
Yeah.
good. Flying spiders and murder hornets. This is
Just so you know.
Closer to you than me, so I'm good. I'm okay right now. Kill you
To
first.
be honest, this year has just gone like so bad, from like bushfires in Australia to the virus and the murder hornets. You just know, like, the spiders, if they get a shot, it's gotta be this year. It has to be.
Yep.
Oh, absolutely.
What do you guys think of these murder hornets?
I haven't seen one.
Well, but you've heard of them, though, right?
What's a murder hornet?
I thought they were a myth.
Well, apparently not.
Well, what are they actually like? Are they even in, like? You know what? Here's the way I care. Are they in Portland?
They are on the sort of western part of the United States, I think, and so it's. I mean, I'm assuming it's Portland, Oregon. Is you're from? Is it?
Yeah, that's where we live. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's possible they could end up down there, I suppose, but.
Bring it up. You're right. That was.
They're big and ugly, but they supposedly don't rate much higher on the insect pain scale than an average honeybee or a common wasp. So
I've been stung.
Just huge and ugly.
I've been stung by fucking honeybees 25 times, like, in a row. And you do eventually get used to honeybee stings. They are not really that bad at all.
You know what hurts? Fucking bark scorpions. Have any of you ever come across a bark scorpion? They're like this big, and they're tan, almost translucent. I have them in southern Arizona because that's where I came across them. I think they're the most venomous scorpion in southern Arizona. Fuckers hurt, and it's like being stung. You know that feeling you get when you first get stung, how much it hurts right then?
Yeah.
But it lasts for 4 hours.
Oof.
Oh, no, thank you.
Yeah.
No, that day I got stung by all the bees. I fucking was wearing a boiler suit, and when you wear it was a warm day, so I'd let it down and tied the sleeves in a knot around your waist, and it had left a gap in the fucking bee suit at the bottom where the nut is, and the wee fuckers all got up inside the bee suit, stung me in the back of the knee, or the back of the ear. That is one of the worst places I have ever been stung, in the back of the ear. It was so fucking sore.
Oh,
I'm just sitting, I'm looking at the bee suit, and I'm like, there's a bee flying about in front of me, and I was like, is that wee fucker in the suit? How did he get in the fucking suit? What? And then once you get stung once, they leave that pheromone smell, so then every fucker's after you, and yeah, no, that was not a good day. My fingers even swelled.
I forgot you kept bees.
Oh. So if nobody else has got any other questions or anything for Nathaniel, we maybe round up or so.
Susan's about to be off work in like 2 minutes.
Right. Well, then we will wait on Susan coming back.
Yeah. So you got.
Well, she's prettier than you, so we can get rid of you for a half an hour, maybe, and we get her
yes,
bring her.
You can. Yeah, I will take my leave and everything. Because you're about off work, right?
R.I.B., you're very quiet in the corner. Have you anything to add to the conversation? I know going by your moniker, religion is bullshit, so this might be a little bit different than your usual topics.
he stepped out. I don't know if he's still gone.
Yeah, sorry. I just had my actual mic muted there. Yeah, no, I'm very much so out of my intellectual depth. I'm just kind of soaking up all of the information right now.
Oh, how about Jeff?
I'm not sure.
Fascinating conversation, though.
Eclectic mix, I guess. There you are.
For some reason,
Well, it is a very interesting topic, and especially considering how long, the actual evolution has taken. As you say, 200,000 years just for us.
Yeah. We don't have a lot of change in that amount of time. Part of that is because we're the first species to actually start directing evolution. And that's actually rather amazing that we have created species ourselves, new species that even that's actually challenged the name or the moniker species altogether. And it's really kind of a bit of our downfall as well. But our understanding of how to do that is really kind of changed the face of actual natural science over a long period of time. And so it's interesting and kind of scary at the same time, because you look at things like dogs, and there are many dogs that are simply not viable animals, right? And that's our fault.
Yeah.
Right.
I have a mongrel behind me that's 16 years old and has never needed to go to the vets, for the exception of his shots, so he can be put in kennels. And if you've seen him, you'd think he was 8 or 9. He's still very fit, very healthy, great wee dog. And then last year I had a German Shepherd that didn't make it to 7 that I had to put down because of genetic problems. And I specifically made the effort to go and find one that wasn't, it was an American Shepherd, as they're known, the pure white ones, that was bred with the black and white ones. So I was like, great, there's a little bit of diversity. No, still didn't last 7 years. Ended up with genetic problems. And you see people walking up and down the street now, and you're like, what type of dog's that? Oh, that's a Labradoodle. So it's a mongrel. No, it's a Labradoodle. I paid £1,000 for that. Well, you're a dick for paying £1,000 for that. These dogs are now fashionable accessories.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do appreciate the fact that
the really small ones with the tiny snouts, and they can't breathe, and some of them run right, and it's awesome.
There's no way that the British Bulldog is a viable animal, really,
No,
I spoke to a vet about that, and she says when you do surgery on a dog and you've put the dog out, you put the tube down their neck, and when they wake up, to go over and then take the tube out because the dog's panicking, because they can't breathe properly, this tube's down their throat. Them dogs that the snout has become really, really short, she says they are the only breed of dog that doesn't panic because it actually breathes better when the tube is down its nose, which is disastrous. Like.
Yeah. Are you coming on? Say what? Yeah. I'm like, Susan, gotta get over here.
Do you have any animals yourself, Nathan? Or Nathaniel?
Say again?
Do you have any animals yourself?
Yeah, we have 2 corgis.
Oh, that's right. Yes, you're the Queen's corgis.
Yeah, Dos Corgis 15 on the Twitters and the Insta and all that stuff. And then we had a cat as well. So yeah, she's 13.
Yep.
There you go. Yeah, she's something else. She's a lot of fun, and
What do they call that?
The cat goes between feed me and leave me alone throughout the day.
Unless you're me.
Yeah, unless you're Susan, that's the only person that she always likes.
That sounds like a cat.
That particular dog I got him as he was a rescue. He was actually I seen him being abused by the person who used to live beside us, and whenever I phoned the RSPCA on them, I got to keep the wee puppy. And his breed now has become quite popular. It's a Jack Russell cross with a Staffy, so it's like a big Jack Russell built like Arnie Schwarzenegger. And to buy,
it's fucking all muscle.
he is pure muscle. Are you awake? No, he's fucking sleeping on the sofa. But no, he's a pure tank of a dog. But he's small, he's healthy, he's very independent. Great wee dog. And I was looking because I would like to get the same type of dog again. And because it's now fashionable to get a mongrel, they're £200 and £300. It's a fucking mongrel. It's insane that people will pay that amount of money for a mongrel. Like.
So the question I asked earlier about what
Ooh, hello, doggo.
would we bring back Jurassic World style, and I asked Aaron Ra what he would bring back. You guys want to hear his answer? He said maybe we could reconstitute a dodo or a passenger pigeon, but not likely better than that. Every attempt to produce a mammoth failed.
Well, yeah, it's a hypothetical. This is what I would bring back.
Yeah.
Thanks, Aaron.
Anyway.
Damn science ruining all the fun.
Benny looks uncomfortable. It's also very, very warm right now. Was he just laying down?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. He was directly underneath my feet
Oh.
for the last how long have I been here?
I don't know.
When did we get the office?
April?
2 weeks ago.
Yeah, 2
He's
weeks.
been directly under my feet for the last 2 weeks.
Yeah. This is Benny Barkington. He's he's a little rescue corgi.
Hi.
Yeah, he's 10.
Hi.
Yeah,
He's a good boy.
he is uncomfortable right
He's
now.
he wants over to me.
Yeah, he does. Look at that. He's the rescue guy and has had just a go over there.
Come here.
Go ahead, bud.
Come here.
There you go.
Dear go. Oh yeah.
There he goes. Has had a fabulous life. Really, has made my life. Oh, look at that. That's
There it
cute
is.
pups.
No.
Has made my life worthwhile over the course of the past 5 years, and do what I can to make sure that he's taken care of too. He didn't have the best life beforehand.
He loves me.
Yeah, that's true.
God knows why, but
I mean-
Benny loves me.
He's
He's very introverted in comparison to Stanley. Stanley's a very extroverted dog. So Stanley's always like, oh my god, yay!
He's a
And
corgi.
he's just all like, I mean, I'm good.
Yeah,
Right.
Benny's the snuggler.
yeah, and a lot of that, of course, has to do with there's psychological things that occur with previous family and stuff like that, and lack of food, which we know. That's some of the reasons he's food protective now, like beyond food protective.
Yeah.
But he has been, again, just the most amazing,
Licking my inner weenus.
weird,
He's an
most
asshole.
amazing part of our family.
He's just a plain
Right.
simple asshole. He does what he's told, and he understands. But if he runs off and you tell him to come back, he will sit and wait for you to come to him. He knows not to run any further, but he'll just sit there and go, no, I've got here, you're coming anyway. I'm not coming back. Come on. As I say, he's-
My old dog was
Right.
weird because
Done.
he used to if I sat there watching football, maybe it was his reaction to the sounds or something, but he used to go nuts and run around the room really happy when a goal was scored.
Aww, that's precious. I love it.
Must have been the sound on the TV he reacted to or something, but he was like he'd do a goal celebration. He was a Springer Spaniel though, so they got a tendency to be very hyper.
Oh yeah.
It's
Yeah,
become
Stanley
the dog
dog-
stream.
The doggo stream.
No.
Oh, I recognize that one. Breed.
Yeah, she's a German Shepherd Chow. So she's got the black tongue or the purple tongue and the curly tail, but she's super fluffy. So, yeah.
So much hair.
Yeah, we get plenty of that from it too.
My ceiling fans are fucking black. Everywhere.
Yeah, the corgis. Oh,
They shed a lot.
Yeah, they do. We try to regulate their like their shedding season, and of course, you don't even they're inside for all year round. They just stay inside. Then they just shed the same amount all year round.
Constantly.
That's not really that's not good for them or your home or your vacuum.
No.
And or yourself, because you breathe in a lot of that stuff. And
so your allergies likely.
Yeah.
That is one thing that made me really disappointed with the fucking EU and the EU laws, is because I used to have the German Shepherd and this other dog, and I had a Hoover that was about 6 years old, and then it broke on me, and with new EU laws you weren't allowed one as powerful, and fuck was it 10 times as hard to hoover up the dog hairs. I was ripping like.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And of course that's now why they're outside.
Is that my Mount St. Helens photo?
No, this is one that I took 3 years ago.
Oh, okay.
Although I
didn't know if it was.
I don't think I have that one. Oh yeah, it is my phone.
Photo.
Yeah, I just haven't downloaded it.
Yeah.
But I can put that one back there. This one has more snow on it.
Oh yeah. That's true.
But so we put them outside quite a bit more now, and we have the opportunity to do that, which is really nice. And they shed less, and it kind of like regulates and stuff, and especially because we change climates. We came from Texas, which is either 1,000 or 999, to Portland, which is either rain. Yeah,
that's about it in Portland. It's just rain.
It's not like the rain that you get elsewhere, obviously, but because it's a different type of rain. It's not water. It's
acid rain.
It's different. It's different, and it doesn't rain as quite as hard as it does in other parts of the country, or the climate. Yeah, and so the dogs then being outside in that stuff, so they're shedding less now, which is nice.
Yeah.
So.
Today's dog. This dog is happy right now.
Yeah, he's just laying across her.
Yeah.
He's
a good boy.
I think Robert and I are gonna have a conversation about historical Jesus. That's gonna be fun.
Ooh.
Yeah, I saw him in the chat earlier. That'll be a good time. And that's it. That's Lissy and Maya and other folks. I love these folks because we see them as they go like everywhere.
Yeah.
It's a great thing.
It's a great community.
Yeah, that's what we really like.
We have been very, very lucky in the community that we've all fallen upon, and it's like a giant Venn diagram, though. I do think there is communities in the communities, but the fact that we can, come and bounce across and move and interact with each other, it is a wider community that we have.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
Yep. It's also very diverse.
Oh yeah.
Which has been I don't want to say very diverse because it's not very diverse, but it is diverse.
All depending.
Yeah. If you look at things 8 years ago, at the start of what they would consider like the new atheism movement, and you look at it now, there's a stark difference.
Oh yeah.
And I think it's moving in the right direction, and certainly just needs more.
Sorry.
No, not at all.
It's still to the extent that we need specific spaces for women and people of color and LGBTQ atheists and stuff like that. We still need those specific spaces because people often go, "Oh my God, am I the only one, in this, in this classification? Am I the only one who identifies like this?" And it's if people were a little better, then it wouldn't quite be so undiverse. That's the word I'm looking for. Homogenous.
Yep. White dudes.
Yeah. We need more of that. Or not, we need less of that and more diversity.
Yeah.
Which is, and that's what we're thankfully progressing toward. And I mentioned that the other day in a private conversation that I was having with a couple of folks, the Atheist Roundtable, and actually mentioned both of you, obviously, and talking about recommended both of you because they want to have this thing on there where two ladies host a show and like have an actual like there's a conversation to be had. And for me, it was like, okay, I have like 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 different individuals who are not like straight white dudes that I could say, oh yeah, I recommend this and this and this and this. And that was so nice to be able to do that.
Yeah.
It's still not enough, but thankfully it's moving in that direction and the acceptance of seemingly anybody.
Yeah.
I don't know if there's been other things, but seemingly there's this open door which didn't exist not too long ago. And so it's beautiful.
Yeah, one thing I wanted to ask earlier that I didn't get a chance, but just on that topic of women empowerment and stuff like that is, Nathaniel, what is something that Susan has done that you're very, very proud of? Something, and then reverse of that as well, Susan, what is something that Nathaniel has done that, you know, you just sort of went, it doesn't have to be super cute or anything like that. We can talk about the fields or, you know, what we're working in, but
fields.
I'm very proud of, this list. Obviously, working with Planned Parenthood was a big thing. Standing up for that kind of stuff is not easy in the South. And that meant a lot to me. Organizing protests for things that are really important. It's not, well, no, but these things were you have your ideas for these things. And getting out there and having, and showing these ideas and continuing to stand up for women's rights, reproductive justice, where like I didn't ask you to go to certain protests, right? In fact, the first one that we met at, I certainly didn't ask you to go there, and yet there you were. And every single time that there's been an opportunity for somebody to stand up for somebody else who is unable to, for whatever reason, stand on their own, the fact that I've seen Susan there has been as an advocate for other people is I think that's an everyday thing almost that I'm very proud of her for.
Yeah.
It takes an awful lot to stand up, and as you say, organizing. Organizing means standing up and being a leader, and having the courage to do that regardless of what falls back on you, because you are at the end responsible for it. Could be 100 people there, but if anything went wrong, it all falls on you. And being able to be strong enough to take that responsibility is, Look at the eyes; he's all loved up.
He's so sweet. I love you. Yeah. So I'm pretty much consistently on a daily basis very proud of Nathaniel, because you have very much learned a little more to roll with the punches. You have become so much better about that. I'm very, very proud of you for that. But he, like I said, during the show itself, he has this ability to help people understand very complex topics. He's just able to communicate in such a way that, if, certain people can understand and everybody can understand, basically, even if, it's a concept that they think is completely out of their reach.
Yes. Okay.
So his Periscope channel is a big thing, just because he's communicated with a lot of people on there. He's got a pretty good following on Periscope, so communicates with a lot of people there. And while we yell at people sometimes, it's not all yelling. It's just a lot of like individual little. Hello, Benny. Hi. Benny just started licking my inner Venus again. I don't know. He's done a couple of debates that are on the resurrection. One was over Easter weekend last year, and the other one, it was debating the same guy. The other one was October?
Yeah.
Yeah. And he was so worried about both of those. And I remember telling him, not only do you have this in the bag, you know exactly what he's going to say. Like, but he was able to, you know, formulate these really, really, you know, wonderful like opening statements and arguments and stuff. You know, and he didn't resort to debating like the other guy did.
Yeah, getting back and forth and argumentative. Actually debating rather than being argumentative, yeah.
Yeah, because the second debate, the guy basically was like, well, Nathaniel doesn't have to just reject the resurrection and, you know, sort of support his rejection. He has to come up with an alternative idea for what happened instead. And I'm like, that is dishonest, man. That is dishonest as hell. But he, you know, throughout all of it, he's kept his head up. He is, like I said, he's able to roll with the punches, and he adapts, and I'm just so proud of him. Of course. Yeah.
Aww.
Right. Talking about being proud of our partners, you know, my partner does so much for so many people in the community. He, you know, produces, he helps with OBS setup. He's, you know, well, he has his own channel and, you know, does all these interviews and brings so many people together in the community as well. He does so much behind the scenes, and I'm just very proud and very happy with the thing.
Thank you very much, Pat. You did not have to say that. You don't have to say that. It's just, thank you.
I didn't have to say it. I would.
You make us all shy. I don't know. We get all shy.
Okay, I'm gonna put Benny down really quick because he is killing circulation in my legs.
I might be standing up. I'll get him over here. No, it's easy. It's easy for me to be proud of Susan.
Oh, that's the top.
Very, very lucky when you find someone that can support you and understand you as well. Like, as you say, Nathaniel, you can have these conversations with Susan, and she not only understands, but she, you know, after a while of listening to you, can come back and have a retort, and you can have that conversation. And it's an amazing thing having someone like that. Yes, I'm trying to just make myself sound good because she talked me up now. Okay.
Oh no, you are certainly fairly well known for doing those things. So, and continue to help people, and that matters a lot. So
yeah, when it boils down to it, at the end of the day, I could probably say you're not a Trump supporter or anything like that. You know, we're definitely left, we're definitely humanists, and you know, we have to look after each other at the end of the day. If we don't support each other and lift each other up.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, definitely. There we go. There's Ipkiss. And then this is the other one. This is Stanley Ipkiss. I've had him for since he was a pup, little guy. He is 8. Yeah.
He looks very happy.
He is. This is the guy right here. He's a working dog. He has not anymore. He's a 8-year-old dog now. Now he's all of the everything. He makes up his own tricks. It's like if you tell him like to lay down and roll over and stuff, he'll make up his own idea of how to roll over and everything. And it's fabulous. He does things in order, but then he puts them in like a different order, and he knows what he's doing.
Yes.
When it comes to like everything that he does, and he knows exactly when ice is going to come out of the fridge, which is like my favorite thing to watch him do. Just give him like a piece of ice and stuff. And then this dog, he's kept me sane for 8 years, you know, so.
Yeah, I've had that other one behind me. He was my first dog. I've had him for 16, and you get quite attached to your wee dogs. Like, they do become part of the family.
Rainbow said, I love Pandemic Beard. Yeah, right? From the Pacific Northwest, from what I hear. It's this one. Yeah, this is the beard, right? If you ever hear anybody talking about this is my Pandemic Beard, it is in the Pacific Northwest.
It's quite funny to see some of the haircuts and the beards that have been appearing. Was it Cosmic Skeptic has got some crazy hairstyle going on now for the lockdown? Can't get out to the hairdresser, and it's just what? Sorry, go on ahead.
Though mine's really long as it is. It desperately needs clipping at the ends now. It's like,
Yeah, I'm terrified of trying to cut my own hair. I'm just like, I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to bleach my own hair, even though I'm all like, I can dye my hair pink because I work at home and my company is based in Dallas. So who's going to know?
No, this is the handy thing about being bald. Just, haircut and clippers out, shave it blind, and then go and shave it with a cream. You're smooth as a baby's bum, and it's easy.
So, Shop, you got a haircut recently. How did you do that? Did your wife do it? Did Julie do it?
No, I did it with clippers.
You did it yourself?
Yeah, just started with the long setting and then worked my way down.
Well, decent. Nice. I'm like atheist pastor who fucked up his head a few weeks ago.
Yeah, it was.
Usually has not long hair, but it's like a goodness, and it's a little wavy. And he had a full beard, and so all of a sudden he shows up on the stream and he's almost completely shaven down, beard gone. And we're just like, what the fuck did you do to your head? Link is in the chat right now, Lissy. Blaming her for it. Not her fault.
But
totally
that happens. Nathaniel will understand this. Whenever you're starting out and you're getting the beard and you're trying to do a wee bit of a tidy, you take a bit off the left and then you try and tidy it on the right, and then before you know it, you've lost 1.5 inches, and you're like, oh, for fuck's sake.
That's why this time I just let it go.
I thought atheist pastor just did it because he was getting sick of the Russell Crowe joggings or whatever.
You're telling me he looked like a penis, and he did for a while. It's finally growing.
Yeah, he's actually like, nah, Russell Crowe sounds better.
Lizzie says it looks so much better now. It really does. We can actually. I'm not laughing now. We were quite taken aback. So.
I'm gonna.
Twirl it.
Susan doesn't want me to.
Do not twirl it.
A mustache long enough, I can start doing stuff with it.
Proper handlebars.
We had to buy a pair of miniature. No, don't give him any ideas. We had to buy a pair of small grooming scissors in order to trim his mustache because it did not come to right here.
A little further.
It was down to his bottom lip.
It was.
And I was like, I cannot kiss you unless you go like this.
It wasn't that far.
It was
it gets really annoying. It gets very itchy. I have that as well, and you have to trim it. I don't like it when it goes past the lip. It starts to tingle my bottom lip, and then it gets itchy. And no, I don't like it. No.
And then if you get really lucky, it gets
kind of
stuck in your
mine off.
It's stuck in your teeth, Junk Shop?
If it gets long enough, yeah.
Damn.
That's when you know it's time to cut it back.
That's insane.
The whole thing with this, it's like almost an everyday thing, and I'm like, oh man, I'm glad I only have hair right here. I couldn't do this if I had like Susan's hair. There's no way.
No.
They have both of them. People do that? What? How?
Definitely recommend the oil or the wax. That's what I do. I get up in the morning, oil it, wax it, quick brush, walk out the door. Dead easy.
I got Oh no! I don't. There's this beard thing. I was saying there's a brush in there that apparently it helps to produce the natural oils and stuff.
Yeah.
I'm like, I want that brush.
Have you ever seen now? This is completely off topic and madness, but there is being in America. Usually have an advantage to this. I don't. There's the Dollar Beard Club. Have you ever heard of the Dollar Beard Club?
The Dollar Shave Club.
No, yeah, right. Well, this is the Dollar Beard Club. Look up their adverts on YouTube. It's just a guy walking around with this massive beard, and he's like, I am so well bearded. All the women come to him. Then he jumps on a big motorcycle. He starts petting a tiger. They are absolutely hilarious, man.
I actually know a guy who writes a blog called the Beard Liberation Front. So I just think the name of that is so it's brilliant.
Yeah, it's awesome. That's amazing.
Yeah, we're trying to decide at this point, how long it's gonna go, how much longer. Because I don't even do you shave it at this point? I don't even know. I've never had my beard has never been this long before, and at least Wolf's beard is pretty awesome. It's basically like me and Ocean have like the same length beard pretty well.
I think so.
Yeah, it's definitely longer than Braxton Hunter's, but that's okay because he blocks you on Twitter if you don't agree with him.
Very true.
And so we're like, at what point are we gonna like do anything with this? And I'm like, I don't know, ever.
See,
So
I don't
it's,
like it there. See where you have it bushy there? I prefer the whole like evil look, you know.
The best part of mine, because I have like, this is so it's blonde and red and black, and then I have white hairs apparently because old.
I didn't
And
find mine or nothing.
and it comes down right underneath your lip comes down and it sits right on top of the beard, and so it makes it look like it's more here. And so spreading that out has been, I know more now about how to take care of a beard, I think, than I do about science, because
looking after a beard is a form of science.
It is a science in itself.
That's very true.
It's a science and an art at the same time.
Just where you see where you have the white bit in the middle that comes down, if I trim them hairs too short, then they kink, and if you look at me from the side, my beard has a scoop in it. And it's like you have to get them to the exact right length so they go down in the straight. It's all, as he says, it's a science in itself.
Oh yeah, we took because you guys saw like it doesn't show it very well on the green screen, but like the Cthulhu that we have, right? We got it in the mail finally yesterday. Can I turn the green screen off right now and then make it happen? I don't know. Either way. So we got this in the mail, and there's the pictures are on Twitter. You put them on Twitter, I think, right?
Yeah.
And me looking at this Cthulhu, I can see my beard from the side. I've never actually seen it from the side in any photos. I was like, damn.
He's very impressive.
See, I think I shaved all my facial hair off about like a year ago, I think now. So I generally used to have like a goatee or something, or occasionally I'd have a full beard. But I don't know. It's just after a while, I just kind of got tired of it, and I just shaved it all off. So
No, too lazy to shave every morning. It's easier just to let it grow out. So,
oh, it really is. Oh, it's so.
I didn't say I shaved every day, but
Yeah.
most days.
What we'll do is we'll work our way around the room, give everyone a shout out, and let us all know what we're doing this week or what's coming up. And yeah, we'll go from there. Divine, seeing as you are, oh, look at that, trying to be the cute couple of the internet, Seeing as the show was all about you, what have you got coming up this week? What is coming up on the channel?
We should have a show tomorrow night. Do we have a show tomorrow night?
Not.
Yeah. We're working on our premiere video. We're gonna actually, as soon as we're done here, we're gonna go and work on that stuff, getting stuff recorded.
Yeah, I gotta. I have to add stuff to the script now because I found something really cool. So.
Yeah. I'm going to be Friday morning. Going to be over at the end of there. Woohoo! I'm very excited.
I don't know how to do this.
Yay.
There it is.
On Sunday, the 17th, we're going to be on with your friendly neighborhood atheist. He's doing like a monthly roundtable thing, like an atheist roundtable. We did that on Ask an Atheist Day, but where he's starting a monthly one, and then he is also starting. I think I told you about this one. The Women of Atheism roundtable. So he's starting like his discussions and stuff. So we've also got the Secular Literary Circle that is Tuesdays, which is Aaliyah Kai, Nathaniel, and me. We are currently reviewing Bart Ehrman's Heaven and Hell, A History of the Afterlife, which is a fantastic book. If you're already a fan of Bart Ehrman, it's a great read. If you don't know who he is, this is a great introduction into him because he's usually very, very technical. He's very, very academic, but it's very easy to read, so I highly recommend it. It's not just about Christianity; it's about all sorts of afterlives.
Yeah, it's a good book. It's very, if you're a lay person, it's he can write some of those that are really great, and he did that. I mean, he's got like 11 bestsellers.
Yeah.
I gotta say, Bart Ehrman is really good, actually. He's really good.
Yeah, I don't agree with every position he holds, but he's a phenomenal person and a phenomenal scholar.
Yeah. So you can find Secular Literary Circle on The Rage Tuesdays at 7:30 Pacific, which is 10:30 Eastern. Yeah, because us and Aaliyah Kai we're in the Pacific time zone. Our show is usually Wednesdays at 5:30 Pacific, 8:30 Eastern. And then the Women of Atheism Roundtable is going to be, I think, 7:30 Central, 8:30 Eastern, I think.
No, I don't know. You're looking at me.
I think so.
Bloody
I would
time
have to
zones.
I'm not entirely sure. I'll have to find out.
Yeah, she's involved in a lot of stuff, and I'm really proud of that too. Because whenever I can tell you that when we first got together, and I have to remind you every now and again, you are so capable of things, and I'm happy that you're seeing that.
Thank you.
Yeah.
That's about it. You can follow me on Twitter, Motel Cowboy. You can follow
All
the show.
their links for Twitter for both Susan and Nathaniel are both underneath both their Twitters and the link for their channel. If you haven't subbed, go down, check it out, give them a sub, and definitely check them out. RAB, have you any debates coming up this week?
I have scheduled uploads for the next 2 Mondays. Those will be kind of past debates that I've done. I was able to get those back from past channels and stuff like that. I have a podcast coming up, and I have a call-in show. Then after that, those dates are to be announced. And then a little bit less than 2 weeks, then I'll be on your show. So I'm looking very much forward to that. Other than that, though, I don't really think that we have anything else kind of coming up. We kind of do a much more informal, play it by ear, rough kind of schedule type of thing.
Perfect. Junk Shop.
Well, I'm going to be over on Godless Granny's 200 subscriber celebration stream here in about 20 minutes with Chin's Little Corner and Bad Tempered Badger. And then I've got my improv Bible study, which I've got scheduled for Wednesday and Friday of this week at 2 p.m. Central. We're now in the book of 2 Kings.
Ooh. Wait,
So
2
much
Kings.
lighting.
Yes. 2 Kings. I'm just 2 Samuel. When you get there, I want to know.
It'll be here eventually.
You got 2 books together.
And Jeff, what's happening with yourself?
Up on my channel, Sunday 1 o'clock UK time. Been going to be continuing this little series I've been doing with Hissy, where we're going through all the old Asterix comics and like obviously they're supposed to be a bit more light-hearted and but also having a bit of fun looking through the humour of that, but also looking at it from sort of a historical point of view and whatever as well. So. I've been enjoying doing that. That's the only thing I've got scheduled coming up on my channel this week. Other than that, I'm quite regularly on Dave's quiz and the afternoons here in the UK, which obviously MathPig and Manta are regulars on that as well. So
yeah, we love critical questions. Critical questions is always good. Well, this Sunday I've got Michael Curry. I have Michael Curry coming on this Sunday. If you've seen him on Richard's channel the other day, I've seen him around Empathetic Atheists and stuff, so we're going to have him on. And then next Tuesday, Jeff, you like this, we've got Nick Suter. This day week we've got Nick Suter. And then also coming up, we've got Chris Shelton too, so lots to come in.
Oh,
yeah, should be fun.
Brilliant.
Should be good. Chris is always good crack as well. So
Chris is always great to talk to.
Well, on that note, again, I want to thank Divine Disbelief, both Susan and Nathaniel, and you have been fantastic, really.
Thank you.
Oh, by the way, 6 days. It's 40 years since St. Helens erupted, so go look that up. If anything's
depressed.
If anything's gonna happen in 2020 that hadn't happened yet, it's something like this.
Something like that,
yeah. Go look at that. It's May 18th, 1980. There is some phenomenal footage and coverage of that, including the landslide, the largest landslide in recorded history. So it is amazing, and this happened in the United States. So
and confirmed, I've seen it.
Yeah, she's been there.
I have.
History in the making, actually, with video footage, things like that have happened. It's good to have, people appreciate that. It's good to see it.
Yeah, absolutely. But
well,
thanks again for having
on that
me.
night, thank you very much. Thanks everybody for coming, and thanks for the viewers for all watching. I really appreciate it. And we will oink and out.